Do you ever find yourself studying scripture and you find a word that's translated very differently in different versions and it makes you just go, how is that possibly the same word? uh, I came across in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 3, that some verses say, He delights in the fear of the Lord. And then some say, He's of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. Those are very different concepts. Um, I came across it because I was following a little reading that focused on verse 2 of chapter 11, talking about the sevenfold Spirit of God. This is prophetic of the Messiah. And so these verses are talking about his character, his mind, his way of being, who he is. And it goes on into verse 3 and 4, his judgment and his discernment of us. And coming from verse 2, spirit of wisdom, might, counsel, knowledge, like it's just all these deep things, and it's the spirit of, it's his presence, right? Well, in verses 3 and 4, it moves into how he determines and then how he executes judgment. And so that's where we come across this. His delight is in the fear of the Lord versus his quick understanding is in the fear of the Lord. The word is still spirit, except this time it's a verb. In verse 2, it's a noun, his personhood. And in verses 3 and 4, he is now active in his breathing. So I can almost picture translators who know that this word, it means spirit, means breath, means wind, it means smell. I just picture them in a room pausing going, hold on, does this really say that Jesus can smell fear? Because that's kind of awkward. And so it's kind of like they refused to translate it that way. They're like, surely it means something else. But in verse 4, they're kind of prevented from finding a poetic way to translate it because it says of his mouth, the breath of his mouth. So they kind of have to be like, okay, well, that's obviously talking about him exhaling. Great. Well, in my mind, if verse 4 is him exhaling, verse 3 is him inhaling. So yeah, he's smelling. He's smelling us. What do I smell like in the presence of God? Why? What? Okay, this actually does make sense. You ready? There is a military study where they had volunteer participant people who would smell a smell. They don't know what it is, and they were recording their responses, biological reactions, all the things. And so this first smell, they have no real response to it. It's very neutral. The second smell, if you're aware of the study, they actually felt an increase in anxiety from a smell that honestly I'm not even sure that they would say was any different than the first one, just based on superficial. Like, they both smell like body odor. What is this? Well, what it is a military professional person. They took a sample of his sweat first, sitting at a desk doing paperwork inside a building. It's very secure, very boring. So it's not a lot going on in your body to make your sweat have a lot of smell, I guess. Well, the second one, this guy happens to be a professional military paratrooper. So he is at altitude, about to jump out of the airplane, and they sample his sweat again. And when we smell that, even out of context, our anxiety levels rise involuntarily. Obviously, for a military study, that's wildly important, because if you have someone in your troop of soldiers going somewhere and they're anxious, then little by little, that tense alertness is going to spread to other people, and they're not going to know why they feel that way. They're going to think something's wrong. They're going to make choices wrong because they're trying to identify what they're sensing, because they don't realize it's the one person who started the journey anxious to begin with. I can only imagine if you're in a group of people anywhere and you felt calm and then suddenly you don't, it's very likely someone around you is feeling very anxious. Well, it's just one emotion, it's just one experience, it's just one fragment of what we're capable of. So, what does our anger smell like? What does our sadness smell like? What does our pain smell like? Because that's all chemistry, and it changes everything inside us. And God knows what it smells like. I mean, think about a dog. God created dogs. He created their amazing sense of smell. They can tell when someone's about to faint or have a seizure or have some kind of episode before the person even knows. And the person has to trust that this dog that has been partnered with them understands what's going on in their body better than they do. So I'm absolutely going to trust Jesus to know what's going on in my body better than I do. But at the same time, how does he control, what do I smell like? And I can only conclude that I want to smell like Jesus, because Jesus had a perfect amygdala, the part of your brain that is in control of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, that deactivates our prefrontal cortex. So here he is, capable of maintaining control of his logic while still feeling everything. That's the fear of the Lord, is still having the proper capacity to make right choices and discern situations without being hindered by fear. The Lord's fear is perfect. I should very much like to smell like that. So instead of smelling the sweat of a man about to jump out of an airplane whose body is amped up and pushing through survival mode and feeling anxious, I want to be influenced by the smell of a man who's in control of everything and cares about me. I want to spend time with that person to breathe in that person, so that in this time of judgment, when God determines my good, my bad, my ugly, my otherwise, that when he inhales, he exhales because it's familiar, and there's no judgment, because I'm saved, I am bought, I'm covered, I am changed from my core to the inside out. How exciting. So yeah, Jesus can smell fear. So whose fear does he smell? Or does he smell fear at all on you? Just things to ponder. And also, as you go, each time you breathe, just remember how perfect his judgment is, and how beautiful it is, that it's so easy that we can't hide. And I'm grateful for that. I don't want to hide. It's brought me a lot of pain over the years. So I hope that you are encouraged and take some time to breathe today, to rest, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. I have every intention of doing more recordings, because this is where I'm supposed to be. Bye.